Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about what is now considered to be one of the most effective, natural, and safe remedies for the flu or the influenza. I'm talking about honeysuckle. I did a video the other day because I literally walked out of a coffee shop after reading this research study on honeysuckle and its antiviral properties. Walk out and growing on the fence here in Tennessee was honeysuckle. So I took a few flowers and popped them in my mouth, and they tasted nice and sweet. And I'm going to start collecting those. We're towards the end of the collecting season here in Tennessee, but there are still some vines, some of those plants flowering where you can get those buds and get those flowers and collect them, and then dehydrate them on lower temperature, and then just put them in a nice glass sealed container. You could put them in a Ziploc bag. You don't need to freeze them after they're dried. So save those, and then you're going to make for your family or yourself, if you happen to catch a cold this season, you're going to save that and you're going to boil it down for 30 minutes. You're going to make yourself what is called a decoction. It's going to allow you to effectively treat the flu and rescue your healthy cells from viral infection. And we're going to talk about the research here today. I always like to break down the research because that's where this information is coming from. It's phenomenal that we have medical physicians and researchers doing this type of thing for us to give us the knowledge necessary to, without a doubt, state that there are effective antiviral natural wilderness remedies out here. So the title of this article or this research study published in Cell Research 2015, honeysuckle encoded atypical microRNA 2911 directly targets influenza A viruses. Says here, they found in the report that MIR 2911, a honeysuckle encoded microRNA, so these are microRNA, is highly stable in honeysuckle decoction. So what they're talking about there is oftentimes they see if we boil things, we're going to break down the molecules, we're going to break down and degrade the RNA or the DNA of that plant. Well, the microRNA 2911 actually was stable after 30 minutes of boiling these buds or these flowers. It was a traditional herbal remedy. It's been shown in other studies to be antiviral and help people recover quickly from the flu. So they wanted to specifically understand, why is it so effective? What is the active component? And they identified here for the first time an antiviral microRNA surviving the boiling process of the plant and then being able to be consumed at adequate dosages you would get from a tea. You could adequately dose with a tea made at home. Continuous drinking of honeysuckle decoction leads to significant elevation of that mRNA or that microRNA 2911 levels in mouse peripheral blood. So they could do this in mice, and they wanted to do it in mice, so they used a radioactive, basically, that microRNA that was radioactive to see where it goes in the mouse's body. And what was really cool about this study is the fact that the body was so intelligent, even in mice, that the microRNA was digested and then absorbed through the intestinal tract and then traveled through the bloodstream. So it was in high concentrations in the blood, but then it concentrated in the lung tissue of the rats. Guys, get that. That is phenomenal. How intelligent is our bodies if it literally takes that microRNA and then channels it through the bloodstream directly into the lungs where the influenza infection is going to occur? Well, it sufficiently suppressed H1N1, you know, the boogeyman back in 2009, swine flu. It effectively suppressed swine flu or the H1N1 replication. Honeysuckle decoction dramatically reduced mouse mortality, so it reduced the death of these mice with one of the most severe virulent infections of H5N1. Our results demonstrated that the microRNA is the first active component identified in traditional Chinese medicine to directly target influenza viruses of multiple strains. and it may represent a novel type of natural product effectively. You know, it's a wilderness product, and we don't even have to, it's natural, but it's in nature, and you can go find it yourself and collect it. Suppresses the viral replication. So if you want to hang with me here, we're going to break down the study, give you it, give you the data, the information, so that you can sit here and have a quality amount of information to go out there and understand that this is one of the best things. You know, there are other studies on the antiviral properties of things like elderberry. So I would highly recommend a combination of elderberry and honeysuckle in your wilderness remedies or natural remedies for the flu. Says the decoction was prepared by boiling the honeysuckle for 30 minutes. That is the typical directions or way to make these teas. The level of mRNA in the mouse lungs after drinking it was 8-fold times higher in the treatment group than the control group was just fed or was drinking sterile water with no decoction. It also concentrated in the liver, which is unique. I can't really understand yet. I'm looking through the data and information. They didn't really explain why it would be potentially beneficial in the liver. But when I look through PubMed to figure out what's the liver's involvement, obviously processing toxins, biotoxins, the liver's going to do that. Now, it wasn't direct infection of the liver, but there's a possibility of liver damage throughout an influenza infection or condition. So it was unique that it went to the liver and it went to the lungs. The lungs, we can easily explain why. The body needed it there to block the viral replication. The plant's mRNA, that 2911 rescues virus, inoculated induced weight loss, so it reduced the amount of weight loss that the rats had, inhibits viral replication of H1N1. The decoction effectively, again, prevented weight loss. Drinking the decoction significantly reduced the viral titers or the viral load within the bloodstream. And going on here, the plant's mRNA inhibits H5N1 and H7N9 viral replication in vitro and in vivo studies, so in both in petri dish or test tube studies as well as in this animal study. And it rescues H5N1 inoculated induced mortality, so it reduced, again, the death rate of these rats. So who doesn't want to reduce the risk of having a serious complication to the flu? And the lack of weight loss in those rats being fed this decoction or this honeysuckle tea, that's what it is. The lack of weight loss showed that they overcame the flu infection far easier with less strain on their bodies. Drinking the decoction, the honeysuckle significantly reduced the H5N1 induced mortality. The traditional Chinese medicine herbs are generally boiled for several hours to prepare the decoction. However, a special mRNA, this is a statement they made, the mRNA was found to have been largely intact in final decoction or tea. And I highlighted that because, again, referencing back, there are certain mRNAs that they saw these microRNAs degraded or broken down during the boiling process, but it was unique that the mRNA 2911, the one specifically with antiviral properties, it made it through the boiling process, through the digestive tract, into the bloodstream, and then was literally, that power, that mRNA was harnessed by the body and directed to increase its concentration in the lungs of these infected rats and mice. So we got a phenomenal research study here in animals, and it's been used for thousands of years in traditional Chinese medicine. So, you know, and people, plenty of case studies, plenty of people using it. You know what? We've got the test of time showing us that this honeysuckle tea is an effective flu remedy. And now we've got major research studies in animals showing specifically how it's effective against the flu. In support of this, the in vivo study showed that the microRNA could inhibit those several different viral infections, and they even say it would probably be effective against things like Ebola. Yeah. So in support, okay, going on, HS honeysuckle decoction may represent a new effective therapeutic strategy to use to subdue influenza infections. We suggest that as the first natural product, which is a unique statement to me because I know there's plenty of evidence for elderberry to be effective, an effective antiviral and to help rescue people to get over their flu much faster. So again, that's why I think elderberry and Honeysuckle would be a great mixture in a tea, and then combine that with chiropractic adjustments. I'm throwing it out there because you see massive increases. I would want to do everything I can for my children. What do I do for my children when they get sick? I get them adjusted, because during the 1918 flu, chiropractors saved thousands and thousands of lives. We see now that adjustments to the spine boost the immune system. We combine that now with elderberry and honeysuckle tea. We got the fantastic three right there. All right, the novel therapeutic preventative agent against not only influenza A, but potentially other types of viruses. Again, a suspicion being effective against Ebola. So again, we got great stuff there, and I want to end this by making sure that people see, the reality is medicine is going to send people to the pharmacy, not to get honeysuckle tea that's safe and effective, not to get elderberry tea, or not to go get an adjustment. Sadly, medicine right now sends people to go to their Walgreens or their CVS or their Kroger, whatever it is. They send them to these pharmacies, and what do they get? They get Tamiflu right now. Tamiflu, folks. And Tamiflu is so dangerous, so potentially harmful, that the drug manufacturer lied about its effectiveness and safety. In fact, the FDA banned Roche, the manufacturer, from even claiming that it reduced mortality, because they had zero evidence that it reduced mortality. And in the unpublished data, they found an increase in mortality in children from things like severe vomiting and severe diarrhea and dehydration. And children and adults, even, and young kids were committing suicide by psychological events following the ingestion or following taking Tamiflu. So it had a negative effect on their minds, separating their minds from around these people. These children were committing suicide. So I can't stress this enough, that we need to get information like this out to people that need it in times of need, this coming flu season. Anytime, get this information so that people have a safe, effective, natural therapy or treatment for the flu to help them get back on their feet faster, to help reduce mortality, to help reduce the burden of that virus on the human body, to help our children stay mentally sane and away from dangerous medications. So again, I'm the Wild Doc, bringing you your wilderness remedies. Please stay tuned and share this information with those you care about. Hey everybody, I'm the Wild Doc, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hop on over to thewilddoc.com. Subscribe there for our newsletter and email campaign. Join in the conversation on Facebook, and let's transform the world by unleashing the power of natural healing.